First and foremost, I want to thank you all so much for the love, the likes, the subs, the sense of community on our channel. It really warms my heart, and I love you all so much. My name is Brainy Twin Gemini, and I am a twin flame, twin soul coach, spiritual healer, and spiritual teacher. And this video is about twin flame awakening soul activation. This video will explain the phenomenon of the twin flame soul activation, the awakening, and the Kundalini awakening. The twins come into each other's lives to invoke an awakening in each other. And one of the first things is that forcing of the awakening. And it's usually primarily after a cycle has been broken. The twins come to each other at a point in their life where there needs to be an awakening. They come and they invoke that awakening in each other. It's part of the divine plan. They come in and they awaken each other. They ignite that flame because of the flame that's ignited within when each other meet. You start with this profound love, raw, vulnerable love, and then it invokes this awakening. So you force that awakening within each other, and as part of that awakening, you start to see number 2, signs and things. So that's part of the awakening. Because as you awaken to your higher senses. That's what it is. You are awakened. So you're awakened, you're more conscious of the universe. You're more conscious of your surroundings. And as a result, you see these signs and you see these things. And they're thrown to you daily. And you could go a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks without even recognizing them. And then all of a sudden, as you awaken more, you see the signs and the things. You could see number frequencing. You could see events that happen that are similar almost every single day. These signs and things, they come in. It's just to give you a gentle nudge, kind of, tell you what this is. This is something more. Once you awaken to your higher senses. So you naturally open yourself up to limitless opportunities. But number 2 is signs and things. Number 3 is soul shock. One of the most frightening parts of the awakening is soul shock. When you're forced into an awakening, it can be extremely frightening. The awakening for many can be terrifying because this isn't voluntary. Some people voluntarily go through an awakening. They do, they follow the steps, they look for their guides and they guide themselves through an awakening, a spiritual awakening. But when twins come into each other's life, they force that awakening. And you may not be ready. The divine thinks it's time for you to awakening. And that can be terrifying because you feel like you're losing control. But that is your ego starting to die. And as you view the universe differently, you start to release all of these spiritual toxins as you clear the chakras, and that's called the Kundalini awakening. The Kundalini has 7 chakras, and it starts at the base of the spine, and it goes up to the top of the head. And the spiritual awakening is timeless. It's all dependent on you and your free will. Your commitment to the spiritual awakening and healing. Some of you may just suppress it and move away from it, but twin flames absolutely come into each other to awaken each other up. Number 4 is you eliminate the elements in your life that no longer serve you. As your senses are heightened, you have a greater vision and insight to things that are no longer serving you, primarily your soul. You're consistently examining your life, and you have a clear picture now, almost to the point of, where have I been for the last several years? How have I not seen that this stuff is not serving me? You just naturally eliminate the elements that no longer serve you, and that is absolutely part of the awakening process. Awakening is exactly that. You're awake. You're awake to the things that no longer serve you. And you delicately take these things and you push them out of your life, especially if it's not food for the soul. You spiritually awaken, you eliminate that toxin that no longer serves your soul. Number 5, the Ascension flu. Many will go through the Ascension flu. And you may suffer from flu-like symptoms. You could be lethargic, exhaustion, muscle pain. This is your body's chakras clearing and cleansing your soul. Each chakra must be clean before you reach complete ascension, awakening, higher consciousness. I will go through the chakras and the clearing of the chakras and what each chakra entails and how you can clear each chakra in greater detail in upcoming videos. Each chakra has some uncomfortable symptoms, including healing, some past wounds that have not healed, and each chakra represents that healing. And that's the Kundalini activation or awakening, which I will go into greater detail, as I said, in future videos. This is primarily why the twin flames come in. They come in and they activate the soul. They awaken the soul because the soul needs to be healed. The soul needs to heal past wounds, past hurt, and awaken to the higher sense of themselves, ascend, and get to a level of higher consciousness. And that's why the twin flames do it, because they are divinely guided to each other to awaken each other up. And lastly, and most importantly, it's enlightenment and bliss is part of the awakening and the activation. So once you evolve through all of these very, very significant steps, you get to enlightenment and bliss. Enlightenment and bliss is unconditional love. Unconditional love for yourself, unconditional love for others, and unconditional love is loving freely without condition. Once you get to this enlightenment and this bliss, you have harmony and peace within. You're in a state of euphoria. You have unconditional forgiveness. Forgiveness is the same. You have forgiveness with no conditions. You get to a complete state of bliss. And lastly, and most importantly, when you get to enlightenment and you get to bliss, it's no longer me, it's we. So I hope that makes sense as to, what happens, the 6 signs of the, the twin flame soul activation. And again, hopefully this helps you. If this resonates, thumbs up, like and subscribe. Many more videos to come on the Kundalini awakening, the ascension, higher consciousness, but this is what happens with the twin flame activation. Thank you, folks.